Okay, so I'm going to talk about this because since we've been opening up in phases slowly, the conversation dialogue has kind of subsided. And I want to keep this conversation going. I'm not going to let it die out because it needs to be addressed. Now, Kim Fox made a statement, talking about her daughters when she was talking about the looting and everything, and where she come from. And I get that. I understand that. And some of the things she said was good stuff to say. But I'm going to go back to Cook County Jail. Now, those guys have been confined since March. And again, as I've stated in many other videos, a lot of them, a lot of nice percentage have not been to trial to for their innocence or their guilty. But our system labeled them already without the facts being shown. They've been labeled already. And we've seen as of late how this system is really flawed. And so to me, experiencing some of this and listen to the stories, especially from people who has been released, is one-sided. So you have a black man in front of a white judge and they already thinking one way about you. So really you already have the odds stacked against you. But then this judge has your life and your future in their hands. And they have not seen any of the information to justify what they're denying in the bond and what they're denying across the board as it relates to the situation. Then you have the system where say it's three people, they're charged with a crime. Now you got one person who is charged, and then you bring another person in. So you take the second person, put it back on the first person, and you take the third person, put it back on the second and the first person. So now that's another way to stall the system when there are individuals. Three individuals. So if you're going to charge, you're going to do one, then let that person go through, then let that person go through, and let that person go through. Stop piling. So this is another way to get people to break. And this system is designed for those who sit in there that's scared and they want to get out and think if they plea bargain that it will help um, cut down their time. And it doesn't, because let's be realistic here. These judges, they already have their minds made up what they want to do. Again, going back to America Got Talent, it's a black man was on there, been in jail for 37 years for a crime he did not commit. He didn't commit. They stole that man's life for 37 years for a crime he did not commit. The evidence was presented and they ignored the evidence. State's attorney, judges. So there's a lot of people who make decisions on individual lives, and then you have to think about that. So this is supposed to be a system that's supposed to be balanced and supposed to create fairness and transparency to make sure that those individuals being accused is treated fairly, and they're not. Statistical data shows that 90% of our prisons across this land and country is ethnic races. They're ethnic races. And then, depending on the age, depending on the financial status of the family, whether that person will have the support that it needs. But a lot of family members can't afford to support those people on the inside. And then you don't have no programming. So you leave them, then you talking about they fighting, they this and they this and they that and they that. But you have nothing to offer. So everything that they get that will keep them in their right, sane, conscious state, they get it from their family. Then a lot of those individuals who don't get, they end up stealing. Before they got this new phone system, they were stealing phone calls so they can make a call because they didn't have no money. Their mothers didn't have money to put on the books. And then we take all these taxes that we're collecting, and then everything they pay for comes out of commissary. So in the midst of COVID-19, they did not social distance. Matthew Kinley had to make Tom Dart spread them out. but they still didn't handle that correctly. Tony Prepwick got on here and she talked about her staff. She talked about what she wanted to talk about, but nobody never addressed Cook County Jail. Nobody never addressed those in prisons across this land and country. This is a problem. This is a real big problem. Then we have these organizations that's supposed to speak up for those in the prison system to make sure that things are done fairly. Where are you all stepping up to? I mean, let's be realistic. The state of Illinois got funding from MacArthur Foundation, and I've said this again, and I'll keep saying it until I can't say it anymore. Even I've written in letters. They're paying this money for prison reform, and I don't see any reform. So these guys are locked in since March for COVID-19. They have families, they have kids that need to see them. And this is how you tear the family down. This is how the child end up being mad at the parent because our system does not allow them to have contact with those kids. And no mother wants to drag their child into the prison system. And even though I see that happening, that is sad. That is sad. And so then you set up 2 days out the week, Wednesday and Sunday, for 15 minutes. You go through all this hell to get in for 15 minutes. For 15 minutes. And shame on you. And then you wonder why their mental state, they're frustrated, aggravated, irritated, and they always into it. Because if I don't have an outlet, what do you expect me to do with the things that I have bottled up inside me? You're not giving me nothing else to do. You're not keeping my mind occupied. And family visits, where they're friends or family, it helps a lot. It helps. It takes some of the pressure off. It takes a lot of the pressure off. But you all who sit in these seats and make these decisions, you need to be slapped. Now, I'm just keeping it 100. You need to be slapped because you don't care about nobody but yourself. But when it comes down to your family members, you're going to make sure they A-okay. You are. You're going to call in all your little favors and make sure they get good treatment. That's what you're going to do. And so, and I'm not understanding how you come to the conclusion that 2 days out the week. So if you come Wednesday and you want to swap to Sunday, you have to miss the day in order to go to the next week to swap out the day. So you can't go Wednesday, then you have to skip in order to swap out a day. And that's ridiculous. And then when people walk in, they're not understanding. Some of them guards are rude. They don't know what the process is. If you never experienced it, how do you know what the process is? You do not. And for Tom Dart to sit in the chair and act like he was the victim, you're not the victim. You're just a butthole that sit in the seat and you've been coasting along in your job and now the coast is over. And when your time come to be voted out, we need to get rid of you too. And Tony Pratt too, because you ain't all in the bag of chips. You have some people food, but you don't have everybody food. And your name rides outside on California just like Tom Dart does. So you hold just as much accountability. And Kim Fox, your office hold accountability too. Because you all stall the process. You stall it. And it's ridiculous. So then you decide that now we're going to do Skype visits. Skype is an app that you download on your tablet or your computer. And you all can work Skype. You could have did Zoom. You could have did WebEx. You could have did Microsoft Teams. Those are excuses. They're excuses. And then you wait for these guys to get frustrated enough so they get into it with somebody so you can add some time to their books. It's a system that's not working. And we as constituents need to make sure that we start paying attention to what's going on across our prison. Now, let me do this disclaimer. I understand there are some criminals in there that are truly criminals. That's what they do. But even in that, it's a reason why they do what they do. If I'm left to fend for myself and nobody's showing me what I can do differently, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do anything I need to do to survive. But you all are smart. You're so smart. You got the money to sit in the seat, but you're not as smart as you think you are because there are simple solutions to fix the things that's going on inside those walls. There are simple solutions, but you don't want those solutions. And I'm going to keep bringing this stuff up until I see physical change. I'm going to keep talking about this until I see some change. And matter of fact, I'm working on a website as well So we can keep these things in the forefront because people need to see and need to stay aware of what's going on. And we can no longer afford for our elected officials to just sweep stuff up under the rug and think that we're going to be okay with it, because we're not. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And no more excuses, no more running your resume and not doing what you need to do. And I know this video is long and it's okay. But I'm going to address the things that needs to be addressed, because you all are accountable. Like we hold accountability, you hold accountability just as well. Don't lie, because we can see through that. We can see through it. Tell the truth. Do what's right. Attorney fees are very expensive. This is another thing that places families in hardship and they end up homeless. And you all don't care. And you think when your bills get high, the thing is to take the money and put it back on us. Why? Why would she pay for something that some of your individuals in your own camp has been stealing all the time? That's all I'm saying. Fix it. Simple solution. Fix it. It's not going away, and I'm not going away neither. So get used to it.